LOL at this market now. Look at this. Oh, could we expect any different, honestly? Dow Jones Industrial Average up nearly 500 points here today. The market hasn't even closed as I'm prepping this video, up almost 2% today for the Dow. S&P 500 up 1.3%. NASDAQ up another 0.8%. Look at the NASDAQ now. NASDAQ is right there near an all-time high. Like, it's just like, it's so dang close that, if this market keeps going, who knows, maybe the NASDAQ's going to take it out an all-time high by the end of the week. Absolutely nuts. And I mean, in this market, should we expect any different than what we're seeing right now? It is ridiculous, okay? Look at the public account today. Public account today is up over $16,000. Ridiculous. It's one of 7 of my stock market accounts. I don't know what I've made today, but it's got to be some insane number when you add up all the different accounts. It wasn't like there was any great news for any of my companies today or something like that, or some earth shaking, all this, something so great happened. No, it's like, it's not even like any good news out there, really, honestly. And look at that move up today. It is ridiculous, okay? Look at this, okay? This is a dividends only account I have. It's available for everybody in my private group to see along with the public account. Only dividend stocks in this account, okay? Look at the move it's making today. 8% move in a dividend account? Are you kidding me? You got to be flipping my flapjacks. Like, this isn't some type of, whoa, it's an ultra growth stock account or something. No, this is a dividend account. All those stocks in there are like value stocks, dividend stocks. It's like ridiculous. And look at the move today. Over 8% in a day on a dividend account. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. This is just ridiculous now at this point in time, okay? So yesterday on the channel, it was actually 20 hours ago, I put out a video called and it was basically talking a lot about what's going on in the market, what is transpiring, and just like how this is just hilarious. You kind of just have to laugh at the stock market as of right now because, we're just getting this gauntlet of bad news consistently, and the market just keeps going up and up and up, and literally we're pushing up against all-time highs in the history of the stock market with massive amounts of bad news, and it's just something you have to do. You just have to laugh at it, because if you take this stuff too serious, you're just going to end up getting really, really frustrated, okay? We talked about some of the quote-unquote great news, okay, in that video yesterday, and we talked about a lot of different things, okay? 3 of the main points we hit on in that video was obviously 24% roughly real unemployment rate, the highest it's been since really like the Great Depression. Number 2 thing we hit on in that video, there's major US cities in unrest like we haven't really seen in a long, long time. Number 3, Rona is still going strong. Like Rona hasn't gone away. It's not in the media attention at the moment, but it's still going strong. And we talked about a ton of different things in that video. So if you want to, check out that video if you haven't yet, definitely check out that one. We went through a ton of different things. But here we are today with the Dow up another 500 points roughly, and there must be a ton of great news today, okay? There's got to be a ton of great news. So let's find some really great news today because, oh yeah, there's got to be some. By the way, look at this, okay? Just while I prep those few slides, now the Dow's up 554 points. Oh man, look at that NASDAQ getting close to 9,700, okay? So what do we find for some great news? Well, Chinese passenger carriers are going to be banned from flying to the U.S. That's not such a good thing, I can tell you that. At least for my city, man, Las Vegas. Are you kidding me? We need as many people from Asia and especially China in general, man. Those are the ones that spend the major money as especially gaming at a lot of the resorts here in Vegas. That's just like straight up, man. It's not the Americans and the Europeans, man. I can tell you that. All of them, they just drink, or they just come to overdrink, okay? Overdrink and overeat. That's what they come to do, man. They're not dropping $1 million in a night on some high-end baccarat. I can tell you that. That's not what they're doing. We need the Asian play. So, I don't know what's going to happen in my city, but man, we need them as much as the Asian play as possible. And, a ban on Chinese passengers, it's just not a good look in my personal opinion, okay? This is the greatest 50-day rally in the history of the S&P 500, the history of the S&P 500, greatest 50-day rally. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Okay, this is like that great news that just reinforces the stock market, I guess. Absolutely incredible, okay? Here's some more quote-unquote great news. Dr. Fauci says Rona vaccine, which, by the way, we don't even have a Rona vaccine right now, okay? So it's funny we're already talking about having it, and we don't even have it yet. But Dr. Fauci says Rona vaccine may not provide immunity for very long, which means they'd have to develop something else, and we haven't even developed the first one yet. So, who knows what's going to happen with the Rona vaccine, when that's actually going to come out. How long that's going to, actually last for in terms of how long it works for. We don't know any of that. That's still, the whole Rona situation is still, it's still up in the air. We'll see what happens over time, but there's no conclusion there. That's still a mess, okay? So that's some more great news we got. What's some more great news we got here today? Private payrolls declined by 2.76 million in May. ADP says a smaller drop than feared. A smaller drop than feared. Private payrolls declining nearly 3 million in May. I guess that's great news, okay? Walmart takes firearms off sales floor in some stores as protests continued. That doesn't seem so safe. Holy smokes, Walmart, that's just scary to read something like that, okay? Q1 earnings. So now that we've had pretty much every single company report their Q1 earnings were down about 15%, okay? Down about 15%. That's a massive decline, okay? Massive decline. Like, we very rarely have seen 15% declines in quarterly earnings just out of the blue like that, okay? Extraordinary, but it's nothing compared to what Q2 is going to be, okay? Q2 earnings are expected to be down 43%. 43% Q2 earnings are expected to be down. Keep in mind, we have a stock market that's near all-time highs during a quarter in which we're expecting a 43% decline in earnings. You can't make this stuff up. Like, it's just unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. I can't get over that number. Like, for anybody that's been in the stock market for any amount of time, like, you couldn't have really ever expected to see a 43% decline. And any of the beginners in the stock market that are watching this video, like, just remember these numbers, because these are historical numbers. Let's put it that way, okay? I mean, you tell me that, there's no way if I just went away to, Mars with Elon Musk for, a few years, and you had told me everything that transpired, and you said Q2 earnings were going to be down 43%, and you say, where's the stock market? I say the stock market's probably down 43%, or maybe not 43%, but it's down a lot. And you tell me stock market's pushing up against all-time highs, I'd be like, what? No. Okay, that's no. Okay, we have to get all this back next year. Okay, so all these massive declines, we have to get all this back next year for any of this to make any sort of sense, right? Remember, market's pushing up against all-time highs, and we've seen this massive decline in earnings that will continue. So we need to get all this back next year. All of it. We need to get right back to basically 2019 levels, if not higher than 2019 levels, very quickly. Because remember, when we talk about these all-time highs, whether it's talking about the Dow, S&P 500, NASDAQ, especially the NASDAQ is pushing up right against that all-time high. Remember, they had started out the year very hot. January, February, markets were moving up huge because they were pricing in the fact that, 2020 was supposed to be a great year. And here it is, the worst year for earnings in maybe decades and decades. And so the fact is, we need to get back all of these earning declines next year in 2021 and some, okay? And some for the valuations to even remotely make sense, okay? Because these valuations are sky high right now. Just something you have to keep in mind, okay, in this market, okay? Which means if these earnings are going to come flying back to 2019 levels or higher than 2019 levels in 2021, we need two things, okay? Two very important things. One is consumers must spend like beasts. Now, usually if consumers have money, they will spend like a beast, okay? That's generally just like how it is in the United States. Like it works. Our economy works generally as long as the average person has money in their wallet, they generally go spend that money. And those people go spend that money, and there's just money velocity going around. That's generally how it works. But the question is, Are people going to have that money to go out there and spend over the next couple of years? We don't know, because right now, 40 million Americans have filed for unemployment during this whole situation. And we know the real jobless rate is 24% right now, somewhere around there. If we're talking about we need, people to go out there and spend money, we need the real unemployment rate to drop to a 5 to 6% type number, okay? Maybe not as, it might be unrealistic to expect it to drop to 3 to 4% like it was, but guys, we really need unemployment down to like 5, 6%. If we can get that, then we're talking maybe consumers, that's still, relatively high from where we were, but at least maybe that gives us a possibility of consumers going out there and spending a ton of money at the malls, online, at the restaurants and bars and all those sorts of things, consumer-led economy. If that happens, okay, we're looking good. But, we don't know how all this is going to play out. This unemployment rate is the highest we've seen in honestly, generations in the end. It's unbelievably high, and we still don't even know if it's peaked yet. It might actually peak in a few weeks from now. We still got to see how that happens, okay? And then number 2, we need Rona to not take back off in the fall and winter. Keep in mind, a lot of people have said essentially like, well, summertime should be calm for Rona because of the weather warms up, and it's going to be kind of a slow ramp as far as the economy goes and people getting back out there. But a lot of folks that are experts in this field, they say watch out for the fall time and the winter time and the possibility of a major resurgence in like Rona cases, and this really to start spread in a major way again. And we have to see what happens. Remember, Rona hasn't been shut down, right? We just got another 20K plus new cases. And remember, some states have actually stopped testing recently. Some states and some cities have stopped testing because of the protests and because of that volatile situation. So some states, we don't even know how accurate the numbers are here that have come out over the past few days. It could actually be quite a bit higher than what is being reported out there, because literally some places have stopped testing. So this remains to be seen. We don't know what's going to happen in the fall and winter time. And if the economy does ramp back up, that means what? More and more people close together, right? In the restaurants, in the bars, in the stores, and everywhere else, okay? More and more folks close together. And what does that do for Rona? Especially as the weather starts to cool down. This is something we still got to see, man. We have no clue how that's going to potentially take back off or not take off. But from a lot of the experts, it sounds like there's at least a decent possibility we could get some major ramp ups in cases in the fall and winter. So with that being said, I'm getting 3 questions so often right now. And let me address these 3 questions, okay? Who is or what is buying tens of billions every day? To get the Dow to go up, 550 points today or whatever it's going to end up, right? And to get the NASDAQ to go up again and the S&P 500 to go up again, there's either a ton of big investors or institutions or something out there that is buying, massively in this market to push it up again and again and again and again. And who is that or what is that? I don't know, honestly, at the end of the day. I have no clue. I don't think it's Warren Buffett, right? Buffett wasn't even really buying on the big dip. So Buffett really wasn't even buying on the big dip. Who's to say Warren Buffett's buying right now? I highly doubt that. So it might not be him and his $140 billion they have sitting on the sideline. So who is it? What is it? Is it hedge funds? It could be potentially some of these hedge funds that have been, underperforming the market. We know the hedge fund industry in general, underperforms the market, right? Now, what have we seen happening? The market going up and up and up, and maybe these hedge funds were underexposed to the market in general, and maybe these hedge funds are looking at their peers, and some of their peers that might have been more heavily invested, getting some insane gains, and the other hedge funds over here looking like, oh my gosh, look at the gains this hedge fund's getting. We're going to lose clients to them. We got to buy. We got to get in this market. We got to get some of those gains as well. That could definitely be it's essentially what you call a chase for performance. And this happens, especially in hot years for the market. And what will end up happening is it'll over-exacerbate the move to the upside, because a lot of these hedge funds just have to get in. They have to get in. They're like, I need the gains. I need the gains. And so they keep piling in. They keep piling in. It usually ends up in a bad situation for the market over in the next 6 to 12 months whenever that situation happens. But it's a possibility, okay? It's definitely a possibility that it's hedge funds chasing performance, so they just I need more money, and I need more money, and I got to get these gains. Look at the guy, the hedge fund over there is getting these gains. What am I doing? I'm underexposed. Okay, that could potentially be it, but we don't know. Okay. Another question I'm getting a lot is, why is there no real selling pressure in this market? Okay. So one is, if there's a ton of hedge funds buying in, chasing for performance, then they're really not trying to sell out of these positions because they're trying to capitalize hopefully on more and more gains. Okay. But number two, a lot of folks do hold some positions that they really don't want to sell out of. For instance, a lot of my stocks have gone up considerably over the last couple months. And with that being said, a lot of these stocks I don't want to sell out of because I love them for the long term. So although maybe they might be getting a little overvalued short term, if it's an investment I really love for the next 5 years, I really don't want to sell it in the end. The perfect example is a stock I talk about more than any other on this channel, right? Tesla, right? Most popular stock on the channel, big investment of mine. I think we hold just in the public account alone, like 150 shares of Tesla, right? And if I look at Tesla, this was a stock that, in that big fall, it fell to under 400. Okay, the stock fell to under 400. Now it's pushing up, pretty close to 900. And you say, well, why don't we just sell that? Well, I'm not interested in putting selling pressure on Tesla stock. Why? Because ultimately, I think it has a lot more potential over the next 5 years. So you definitely have a lot of investors that are just not interested in creating selling pressure because they look at some of these positions and they're like, why do I want to sell that when I think it might double over the next 5 years or triple over the next 5 years? Like, why would I want to get out of that? And so I can definitely understand from a lot of the long-term community, especially just not selling. So, if you don't have all these folks saying we're going to sell, then it's not going to create selling pressure. And especially if you have these big guys that are buying and they're trying to get the gains over the next several months before the end of 2020, over the next 6-7 months or whatever, they're not going to create any selling pressure until they have to create selling pressure, which usually isn't toward like the end of the year, essentially. And then the next question I'm getting a lot is, at this point, what will it take for a major move down in this market? Okay, we're talking a 10 to 25% move. That's when you consider a major move. Anything in the double digits, a 15% move, 20% move. What will it take? And honestly, I don't even know anymore, okay? I don't even know, what will it take for the market to go down in any major way? Because you think about this. We've gotten, almost every bit of bad news you could get, okay? Rona cases, still coming in high, right? Massive unemployment, horrible GDP, horrible earnings, no outlooks, no clarity on the economy or from corporations, valuations sky high, balance sheets worse. You look at everything, and we've gotten all this gauntlet of bad news and bad data, and what have we done? We've just keep going up. We just keep going up. And so at this point, I'm like, I don't even know what could move the market down. Like literally, what could move this market down? If all that could move the market down, what the heck can move this market down? It's kind of like the market's just in one of those situations where it's like, don't tell me anything. I got my ears plugged. I don't want to listen. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. That's what the market feels like right now. And so, this question is impossible for me to answer because everything that could have been thrown at this market has been thrown at this market now, and we're near all-time highs. Yeah, like what else? What else do you want? There's really nothing else. Massive unemployment, massive GDP declines, massive corporate earnings through the floor, guidance awful. GDP declines like we've never seen. Like, what else can you get? What else can you possibly get for a market to move down? And it's still not moving down. So, I don't know what else could be thrown at this market to actually move it down. But, and like I said in the video the other day, I can understand why some folks just feel like, the whole stocks only go up movement. Because when you look at the market, what has happened here, who knows? Maybe it's the stimulus money out there. Maybe it's the new $3 trillion that was added to the Fed's balance sheet. We don't really know what it is, but at the end of the day, this market is just a beast. It's straight up. It's just an animal. It is a beast, and it will not be denied at the moment. Who knows if any of this stuff will ever matter, but there's anything bad news-wise that could have came out for the stock market has come out over the past couple months. And here we are today, pushing up close to all-time highs. NASDAQ, was 150 points away from an all-time high? It's right there. It's right there. A percent or two away from an all-time high. you know, it's extraordinary. It's absolutely extraordinary. So anyways, all we could do is we could just laugh out loud at this market. You can't take this stuff too serious, man. You got to just have a sense of humor with this, because it's just funny now at this point in time, guys. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. Let me know your opinion in that comment section as always. Thank you for watching and have a great day. By the way, I got free resources linked in the description.